Hey guys, this lesson is on Chapter 2, Section 1, Solving Two-Step Equations. You'll notice at the top of the lesson here I've put a what I should learn. So what you should get out of this is you should have a better understanding of solving two-step equations and using two-step equations to problem solve. So let's jump right into this. Solving two-step equations. A two-step equation I'm talking about would be something like 2x plus 8 equals 10. I know it's two steps because I've got two operations. I've got multiplication and I've got addition. When you're solving two-step equations, you should think of it as undoing the equation in the reverse order of operations. Let me write order of operations, and you should, or you do, know what your order of operations are. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, and then addition and subtraction. So if we're doing things in the reverse order of operations, well, I've got multiplication and addition. Reverse would be addition and then multiplication. And I'm undoing it. You know that undoing things, we're talking about inverse operations. At this point in your math careers, you know what the inverse operations are. So the inverse of addition is subtraction. So 8 minus 8 is 0. However, whenever you're doing something, you do it to both sides of the equation to keep it balanced. So 10 minus 8 is 2. This essentially has been eliminated from the problem. I'm going to rewrite the equation so I know what I've got. I've got 2x left on this side, and I've got 2 left on the right side. To finish this off, how do I undo multiplication? I do its inverse operation, which is division. So 2 divided by itself is 1. Which essentially eliminates this. It leaves x on this side, and then what am I left with over here? Well, 2 divided by 2, because whatever I do here, I do here. 2 divided by 2 is 1. That leaves me with x equals 1. If you need to see that again, rewind the video. Now, for those of you who don't like checking your work and just like putting any old answer down, I'm going to caution you, especially when the equations get harder, please check your work, even if you're just doing it on a calculator. How do you check a problem like this? Well, you can simply rewrite your equation. So 2x plus 8 equals 10 is what I started out with. And I'm going to take x and what I got for it. I got x equals 1. And I'm going to hope that when I solve it, I get 10 on this side. So 2 times 1 is 2, plus 8 is 10. So my equation and the answer I got for x does check out. That is the basics of solving a two-step equation. We're going to look at 3 more examples. Some of them will be word problems, just to make sure that we can understand how to come up with an equation and then solve it for some variable. So the next example we look at will be a word problem. Again, if you need to pause the video, pause. If you need to rewind, rewind and go back. But here we go. Suppose you adopt a puppy from an animal shelter and buy 3 bags of dog food. The adoption fee is $125 and you spend a total of $154.97. How much does each bag of dog food cost? Now, it's good to look for some keys when you're reading these problems to help you figure out what is what and how to come up with an equation. First off, the question itself, how much does each bag of dog food cost? Right there gives me my variable for the problem. I'm looking for C, the cost. And remember, you can use any variable you like. I'm using C because it makes sense, but you can use X, Y, A, B, C, anything that you like. The other keyword I'm looking at is total. That tells me that my equation has to be equal to $154.97. But where is all this coming from? Well, I'm spending $125 on the adoption fee, and, or plus, I'm getting 3 bags of dog food at some price per bag, some cost per bag, so I'm plugging in my variable there. And that is how you come up with your two-step equation. To solve it, it's just as I did before. I'm going to undo in the reverse order of operations. So the first thing I'm going to undo is this addition. So I'm going to get rid of this 125 by subtracting it out. 125 minus 125 is 0. So that essentially eliminates it from the problem. But whatever you do on one side, make sure you do it to both. You want to keep your equation balanced. I'm not going to use a calculator here just yet. This is just some simple subtraction. So what am I left with? 9 and 2. So this needs to be rewritten just so we can see what's left. 2997 is equal to 3 times c. Now how do I undo multiplication? I divide. That's its inverse operation, but whatever you do on one side, make sure you do on both sides. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so that leaves c by itself, which is my goal. And then I'm going to use my calculator. 2997 divided by 3 leaves me with $9.99 for the cost of each bag of dog food. Make sure you are always going back and actually answering the question that it asks. So each bag, just so I'm complete, costs, and that's pretty sloppy, I'm sorry about that, $9.99. How can I check? I could take my original equation and plug in what I got for c. So I originally had 125 plus 3c is equal to 154.97. I'm going to just plug in 9.99 for c. And hopefully both sides of the equation are equal. So to check, it's as easy as taking your calculator and plugging in the problem. 9.99 times 3 is my first step, and that's 29.97. Now hopefully when I add 125 to that, I get 154.97, so plus 125, and we are correct. 154.97, which is equal to the other side of the equation, 154.97. It all checks out. That is solving two-step equations. That's even coming up with one from a word problem. We're going to look at 2 more problems, one non-word problem and then one word problem. So if I'm looking at this, 4g plus 11 and 6/10 is equal to negative 23 and 2/10. I think it would probably be a good idea for some of you at least to pause the video, try it yourself, and then you can come back and watch and see how I solve it and see if you've done it right. So if you paused the video and came back, you would have probably done this first. Undoing your addition with some subtraction and doing it on both sides of the equation. That should have left you with negative 34 and 8/10. And then you probably divided both sides to undo that multiplication, leaving you with, now I'm using my calculator for some division because we're dividing this by 4. It should have left you with negative 8 and 7/10. For those of you who are checking your work, I'll do it quickly over here. I'm substituting for g, negative 8 and 7/10. And let's hope things check out. So multiplying this times 4 is negative 34 and 8/10. And then if I add 11 and 6/10 to negative 34 and 8/10, I'm going to, hopefully, and I do, end up with negative 23 and 2/10. Oop, negative. And there we go. My equation checked out. I've solved correctly for g. Hopefully you got that. All right, one more word problem. This is a multiple choice question. Suppose you buy a slice of pizza for $1.50. You also split the cost of renting a video with 2 friends. Your total cost is $2.75. Which equation can you use to find the cost of renting the video? Well, I'm looking for my keywords, so total, and then the question itself, the cost, which I'm going to use as C. Actually, I should use V because each of these choices have the variable set as V. So the total cost, $2.75. What does that equal to? Well, it's you buying a $1.50 slice of pizza, which is right here in the equation, plus we've got you and two friends splitting the cost of a video. Well, you and two friends is 3 people. And if a video costs some amount of dollars, we're calling V, and you're splitting it, you're dividing it up between 3 people, amongst 3 people. So we've got $2.75 is equal to $1.50 plus V over 3, which if we're looking at our choices, that would be C. So if you pause the video and tried to do this before I did, hopefully you came up with C as your choice. And we could even solve this equation to find out what the cost of the video was, and let's do that real quick. So I see that I've got 2 steps, and I'm going to undo the first step by subtracting $1.50 from both sides. That's going to leave me with $1.25 equals V over 3. Now this, I'm undoing some division, and I'm going to undo it by multiplying because that's its inverse operation. So 3 times 1 over 3 is equal to 1, so that cancels out, and whatever you do on one side, do on the other. So 3 times $1.25 leaves you with $3.75 is equal to V. V is the cost of renting the video. So if the problem did ask us to solve for the cost of the video, we could say that it cost $3.75. Now I said we were only going to do one more problem, but I'm going to do one more word problem just to make sure, because word problems are some of the toughest problems for you to do, and a little extra practice can't hurt. You can pause the video, try this yourself, and then come back and check and see if what you got is what I got. So if you paused it, or if not, I'm going to read it real quick. To make a long distance call, it costs 50 cents per call and 85 cents per minute. To make a long distance call, that costs $3.97. Write and solve an equation to find the length of the call. Well, I'm seeing the total of the call was $3.90, which is equal to you spending 50 cents plus 85 cents per minute. And to solve that, I'm going to subtract 50 cents from both sides. And then to finish it off, I need to divide each side by 85 cents. And if you do this division, $3.40 divided by 85 cents should get you 4. Now, always refocus yourself so you give a complete answer that makes sense. It says solve an equation to find the length of the call. So the length of this call is in minutes. So if I'm rewriting my answer, the length of the call was 4 minutes. I've got my label, I've got my complete answer. And for those of you who check yourself, if you plug 4 in for M, 4 times 85 hundredths is 3.4 or 3 4/10 plus 50 cents is going to get you 3.9. So this equation does check out. 4 would be the answer, and that is solving 2-step equations. Now, for those of you who want a little extra challenge and just want to make sure that you're doing this correctly, here's some closing summary questions. I'm not going to solve them on this video. However, if you would like to solve them, you can pause the video, try them yourself, and when you get an answer, feel free to email me what you got for number 1 and number 2, and I can just tell you if you were right or wrong, or you can just try them and bring them into class tomorrow and use that to start our discussion. Either way, if you have any questions, email me, write them down, bring them in tomorrow, whatever works for you, and I will see you in class tomorrow.